Alright guys, this is the average ranked experience for an elite player. Plus I'm going to be giving you guys some tips to get out of diamond and especially how to get into elite and stay there and make sure you don't rank down and you can keep ranking up in the rest of the time we have in this Fortnite remix season as it is leaving us within 2 days and 21 hours. So you guys might have to lock in and get as many points as you possibly can because y'all really gonna need it to get to whatever rank you are. If you're Diamond 3, definitely need to get to Elite. And if you're Elite, you definitely need to get the Champion. So I'm just gonna give you guys some pointers. And yeah, we're just gonna see how average rank games go for, you know, an average game of, Elite. We're gonna see how it goes, see what we could do. And yeah. God, activate Windows. God. Alright, now we are loading in. We're loading into the Elite Rank game. I'm going to give you guys some tips, some landing spots. Just trying to rank up. So, especially when you're in the lobby, make sure you go to look at your map to make sure you know what the drop path is like. Now, there's 2 to 3 different places I like to land. That's the grotto, the yacht, and this place right here. In this video, just to play it safer, I'm gonna land here. But normally, if you really want to go for a WK game and you need a lot of percents, I would go to the grotto. But I did get away at the grotto for 2 games, and that really just set me up to get into elite. So I'm just gonna show you landing at this spot, and if you want to land at a more contested spot, you kind of do have to focus and make sure you know every single like chest spawn and where exactly you're landing, or else it's just not gonna work. And you want to make sure you know where you're gonna land, and you know the POI, and you're not gonna die off spawn, because that really will hinder your rank percentage. So me just landing down at this house, still ahead of me. There is this like tower up here. I'd never really. This isn't a part of the rotate because after you get this, most people don't land here, so you'll get this and there's a rift behind this building. So you go right behind the building, you hit the rift, and you go up. So you'll get right out of here, and you'll already have everything and all the loot you need because this place honestly is pretty stacked. I always end up landing at this building. That building has loot. This place looks big. It's not that looted. There's not a lot of loot to grab on the ground here. So I would suggest to land at one of the different places, but just for this video, I'll be landing at this part of it. So you don't need to be that good. You just need to get the weapons and get out. You don't need to have anything else. So, grab these minis, grab everything else. I'll drop down. There's a chest spawn here. And throughout here, make sure if you are going to land here in your next ranked game to pay attention, because there is some chest spawns that you might be missing that will give you, extra loot. If you're just cruising through the POI, you might miss them, and you won't have, the best potential loot possible. Now, there's a lot of jetpacks for some reason. So, there's also a lot of brick. You can easily get full builds here, but since it is on the edge of the map, you really don't want to just sit here and take that much damage if the storm comes, because as you see, it's already max pulling. So I'm going to have to, loot up pretty quick. I'll actually just get this before I leave this POI because I'm pretty sure this is the last chest. See who's worth it. Now my friend's gonna be joining. He's just gonna talk, I guess. I don't know. What's up with him? But yeah, I'm just gonna go right up to his house, and we're gonna see what there is for me to grab and loot up. I already have, a good loadout. Purple pump. It's always good to start off the game like that with good loot, so you don't have to go in and not have good loot and take a lot of ticks from being low. There is an underground here, so you can get like the chest down here and stuff. See full health. I have another med kit. Let me just make sure this kid's in my party because I really don't know what he's doing. Oh, there he is. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab my stuff. Nothing else down here. Got everything. Now we're just gonna. You don't have to leave the POI because there's a rift, and it'll bring you right out to another rift that we'll be hitting. That will get you, very far away from the POI to where you can, kind of free it and just run around, make sure you got good mats, full everything. And since we got no one here, which is kind of normal, this POI is a good POI that no one really lands at. Another tip that I would give you is if you're playing Battle Royale or Ranked or anything, you want to make sure that you always carry shields. If you don't have shields, it's really a mistake. Oh, that kind of scared me. But as I see, there's a person right in front of me. I don't know exactly where he is, but he sniped me, right? I don't even care to fight him. He still thinks I'm sitting there waiting at a peak, and he's not gonna chase me. I've got aim with this, so I'm gonna take it actually. And this rift right down here, he's gonna try to chase me, but I'm already at the rift, so I'm gone because there's another rift I have to go to. He might try to beat me midair, but he doesn't know that he's not hitting a single shot. So he still has no clue. He still probably thinks I'm sitting right behind that. Or he could have been farther back and sniped me, but that sounded a little bit closer. So I'm just gonna be taking this rift right here. You could really play as passive as you want. As you see, I could have fought in that and beaten him, obviously. But I'm deciding, just to go through and rotate right down here to, Lazy Lake. And I see a car. I see a massive build fight. Ready? Like that. I see this kid's on me. Oh, and I lag. It's lag. It's lag! God! Damn! So after you're done with the first section of the game, which is going to be kind of your early game where you don't have to fight a lot of people, it's really going to help you in early game when you don't have to fight a lot of people, where you could just kind of sit there and make sure you get your mats and make sure you have all of your like weapons and make sure your whole inventory is set for if you need to get into a fight. Now, when you're going in, if you really need to get more percents, make sure if you play more passive and you kind of wait until the end game, you can get more placement points and eventually, third party some fights and make sure you get the kills. But if you're just going through and there's like an easy fight you could take, those are always fights you want to take for the kills. And if you really can beat it, you could get a kill or two off of the fight, and you can go into the game and still like get the placement points and the kills, and you'll go up a bunch of percents for that. Another thing you want to pay attention to is your inventory. As I said, off spawn, if you have a good inventory, you're basically set. But if you're landing at one of those bigger POIs, you want to make sure if you're landing there to get the mythic or like the Volt or the mythic there, like both of them because the boss. So you're gonna get the Bolt and the Volt and the mythic at the same time. You want to make sure that you have all your mats. You have the Volt and the mythic. Now the best POIs to get these at would be to get them at the Grotto, the Dog Pound, or the Yacht. I would say have the good mythics. The ISO also has the really good AR, but that PO it's basically just the old shark, and if you play that, you know that it's very hard to always get the mythic because there's always a bunch of kids that like landing there, and if you don't really know it, there's a lot of turns that are at the ISO. So there's gonna be too many kids, and if you don't know it, it's a very hard spot to get the mythic at. So my favorite spot to land at is either the Grotto or the Yacht. The Yacht has the Pew Pew rifle, which is a very good AR. You can do a lot of damage with it. And you get the Volt, which is very good. And you can, rift out, and you can also go to a Grotto. But at the Grotto, they also have the minigun, which is very, very broken, especially for tournaments, if you're trying to play tournaments. So if you basically have either one of the either one of the mythics, you're kind of set for the game. But if you land there, like at one of the POIs, most likely you'll get a kill or two off spawn. So going to the mid game, you don't need to fight as much. So that's basically just kind of easy if you can make sure you get it every time. You go in, you get the kills, and you just wait through to the end game to get your placement points. And sometimes, even if you're a good enough player and you have the one of the best mythics, you could always just spray kids because all of the mythics are basically spray except from the new kit one, which has also the little what's it called thing, like the shockwave launcher. So that's also really good for rotations. It's the shotgun's not as good because I don't we the charge really doesn't work as good as all of the other shotguns in the meta, so it's not really worth it. But if you think you can go in here and get it every time, it would definitely be, a thought if you don't really want to land any of the other big name POIs.
I feel like the rig is a good option to go if you're like kind of like me, a more passive player and a not a real W keyer, like kind of like Mixie right here. So I would pick the rig if like you're passive. The bow might not be as well as all the other mythics, but you do have that key card which gives you a vault that can give you pretty stacked loot.
So even if you have the Volt at the yacht, I mean at the rig, it's still a very good drop because you could get that stack from the Volt,
Also a lot of
and then
metal.
you could also go right to Slurpee and get full shields. So if you kind of are less of a W King player and you kind of just want to sit back because there's no one really who's gonna land at the rig, you might get one or two, maybe probably only one kill at the start, but you could just go through and there's max wood at the rig, and you could go through Slurpee and Weeping, which you can get max wood from, and that's gonna set you to like the middle of zone, where you could kind of just play low and box up and wait for no easy fights or just the easy beam that you can get a free kill from, and easily get the placement points to get your preferred rank for the season. Alright guys, thank you for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe and like the video so I can, get a content creator code and make money for Alright, alright, alright.